Dawn spills across the Mojave Desert, turning the sands around Edwards Air Force Base to shimmering copper. On the runway, a strange, beautiful aircraft waits sharp, predatory angles, catching sunrise like polished steel. The pilot eases throttles forward, a low rumble becomes a roar. The jet surges down the runway, leaps into the sky, and vanishes into morning haze. Seconds later, radar screens across the range flicker, then fade to nothing. This wasn't just another test flight. This was a warning shot to the future. In the early 1980s, the United States felt something shifting. For the first time since Vietnam, American air superiority wasn't guaranteed. The Soviets unveiled fighters like the Su-27 and MiG-29 that could challenge the F-15 and F-16. The answer became the Air Force's most ambitious idea since the SR-71: build a fighter that didn't just outfly the enemy, but erased itself from their world entirely. From that vision came the Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor, the first true fifth-generation fighter born from Cold War pressure and technological audacity. It wasn't just a jet. It was a blueprint for maintaining control in a world where everything familiar was slipping. Today, we're diving into the origin story of the F-22, how a jet born from Cold War urgency became the benchmark every modern fighter is measured against, and why its production ended long before its legend did. By the early 1980s, the U.S. Air Force faced a crisis. For nearly a decade, American fighters like the F-15 Eagle and F-16 Falcon ruled skies without question. But intelligence reports told a different story. The Soviet Union built fighters that could challenge American air dominance. The Su-27 Flanker and MiG-29 Fulcrum were fast, agile, equipped to counter the Eagle's strengths. To Pentagon planners, control of the sky was the backbone of every U.S. strategy. Lose it, and everything underneath becomes uncertain. So the Air Force made a decision. They wouldn't simply build a better fighter. They would build something the enemy couldn't fight at all. This ambitious idea became the Advanced Tactical Fighter Program, ATF. Nothing like this had ever been tried. The Air Force wanted a jet that could supercruise without afterburner evade radar from every angle, think faster than its pilot, and maneuver in ways no human had seen. This wasn't a one-off X-plane. It had to be a production airframe with over 700 examples planned. To turn that vision into reality, two industry super teams stepped into the arena. After untold delays, two prototypes emerged: Lockheed Boeing and General Dynamics, producing the YF-22 Northrop, and McDonnell Douglas, answering with the YF-23. The YF-23 looked sleek, sinister, almost alien, prioritizing deep stealth and long-range performance. The YF-22 looked raw, muscular, built with an elbow-sout mentality of a knife fighter. The competition became one of the most consequential showdowns in modern aviation history. In the end, it came down to a hard truth. The YF-23 was faster and stealthier, but the YF-22 was more agile, more flexible, and far better suited for decades of upgrades. On April 23, 1991, the U.S. Air Force announced its decision. The YF-22 would become the F-22 Raptor. The aircraft entered the hands of Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works, the minds behind the U-2 and SR-71 alongside Boeing and Pratt Whitney. Their challenge: build something that would still matter, even if the world changed. When the first prototype flew in 1997, the message was unmistakable. The Raptor was a clean break from everything before. It supercruised effortlessly, was incredibly maneuverable for its size, thanks to airframe design and thrust vectoring engines. It climbed like it wanted to outrun gravity. And on radar screens, it appeared smaller than a marble, if it appeared at all. By 2005, the first operational F-22S entered service. While the planned target was over 700 airframes, only 195 were ever built, shaped by budget battles, politics, and shifting global priorities. But each Raptor represented the pinnacle of American aerospace engineering. How did the Raptor achieve its goals? The Raptor was built on a single, uncompromising philosophy. Don't just survive the fight, end it before it begins. At its foundation was stealth, not just about avoiding detection, but becoming a ghost. Every surface, every line, every angle shaped, so radar waves scatter harmlessly away details like the canopy coated with a microscopic layer of indium tin oxide to stop radar energy from bouncing off the pilot's helmet. Beneath that sleek exterior, the Raptor hides two Pratt Whitney F-119 engines, generating over 7,000 pounds of thrust combined. This gives the jet supercruising the ability to fly supersonic with no afterburners, no giant fireball, no massive heat plume, to track just raw, silent, unrelenting speed. In a world where reaction time decides life or death, Supercruise is the difference between choosing the fight and dictating it. But speed and stealth aren't what make the Raptor dangerous. It's what happens when it slows down. The F-22S2. Dimensional thrust vectoring nozzles pivot independently, giving agility that almost looks like cheating. A Raptor can pivot, twist, climb, and swing its nose with controlled violence. No fourth-generation jet can match. Pilots say the aircraft feels like an extension of instinct. Inside the cockpit, instinct becomes more. The Raptor's sensors radar returns electronic signatures and infrared feeds merge into a single, seamless picture. This sensor fusion elevates the pilot. Instead of managing systems, they manage the entire battle space, seeing not just where enemies are, but where they will be. At the heart is the AN/APG-77 AESA radar. A masterpiece of electronic warfare weapons remain inside internal bays until needed. Doors snap open and shut in fractions of a second, preserving the jet's radar signature. A Raptor can fire 6 AMRAAMs and 2 Sidewinders before the enemy realizes it's being hunted. Maintenance systems seem alive. Thousands of embedded sensors monitor stress component wear and stealth integrity. The aircraft constantly assesses its own health. How has the F-22 performed in real-world situations? By the time it reached operational status in 2005, the Air Force had gained an advantage that makes opponents reconsider. Plans, pilots facing it in training, said it felt like fighting a rumor. You never saw it, you never heard it, you just died. Exercise Northern Edge. 2006 proved that the Raptor took on waves of advanced aggressor aircraft. The result was lopsided. 108 simulated kills with 0 losses. The Raptor's true test came years later. In 2014, as the U.S.-led coalition prepared to strike ISIS in Syria, the F-22 led the way. Raptors infiltrated Syrian airspace, ahead of main strikes, eliminating key radar and command centers with surgical precision. Pilots described missions as eerie. You could see everything on your radar display, but the enemy saw nothing in return. Years passed and the Raptor's role evolved. It became an interceptor deterrent, scout guardian. In 2023, a Chinese high-altitude surveillance balloon drifted across the U.S. The jet chosen to intercept wasn't the newest or cheapest. It was the F-22. A single AMRAAM streaked upward and the balloon fell. It reminded the world that decades after its debut, the Raptor remained America's go-to, when certainty mattered more than showmanship. Today, F-22s stand watch in Alaska, Japan, Hawaii, and across Europe. They deploy quietly, appear suddenly, and leave the same message every time. If a Raptor is overhead, the air is already under American control, but mastery has a cost. Maintenance hours are heavy. Stealth coatings demand patience and precision. Having less than 200 airframes means every Raptor pilot and crew are tasked to the limit. But to the Air Force, it's worth every hour and dollar. How does it compare to aircraft that came after? Compare the F-22 Raptor to the F-35. Lightning and Russia's Su-57. Fell in 3 different answers to the same question. What does a nation believe wins future wars? For the U.S., the F-22 was the boldest answer. Control the sky absolutely or lose everything beneath it. But the Raptor's greatest strength revealed its greatest weakness. Perfection has a price. The aircraft is expensive, complex, and rare. Only 195 were built. To fill that gap, the next American jet took a different path. The F-35 Lightning wasn't designed to outrun or outmaneuver the Raptor. It was designed to out-inform everything else. Stealthy, capable, but its true power lies in what it sees and how it shares information. Think of the Raptor as the lone hunter. The Lightning is a battlefield network in motion. Together they form a layered system. The F-22 clears skies of threats. The F-35 turns cleared airspace into a command post. The third competitor, Russia's Su-57. Felon is shaped by different realities. Russia lacked resources to chase the Raptor's stealth purity. Instead, it pursued an aircraft blending maneuverability, speed, and partial stealth into a hybrid predator. On paper, the Su-57 has impressive kinematics. In practice, the program struggled. Today, only a handful are in active service, far too few to change the balance of power. Side by side, these 3 aircraft reveal a truth bigger than any jet. The F-22 is pure air dominance. The F-35 believes information and coordination win modern battles. The Su-57 is the attempt to stay competitive with limited means. In the U.S. Air Force today, the Raptor and Lightning operate as one force. The future of air combat doesn't go to whoever builds the fastest machine. It goes to whoever builds the best system and understands how quickly that system can be lost if not updated. The F-22 Raptor was never meant to be ordinary, born from a moment when the future felt fragile. In years since the Raptor became more than the sum of its parts, it became the standard everyone chases. Every fifth-generation fighter that followed carries lessons first proven in the Raptor. True legacies echo today. That echo shapes the Next-Generation Air Dominance Program, NGAD. The Air Force's leap into sixth-generation air combat. NGAD isn't a single aircraft. It's a family of systems. The fighter component is designated the F-47 NGAD, is a spiritual continuation of the F-22. The idea that air superiority isn't inherited, it's prepared for when the future is uncertain. The Raptor taught that information could be as powerful as speed, that invisibility could be more decisive than firepower, that control of the sky is the foundation upon which everything else stands. Those lessons remain urgent because the world is shifting again. Yet amid all change, the F-22 remains the quiet constant. It still deploys where tensions rise. It still guards American airspace edges. It still shapes battle spaces simply by being present. No other aircraft has matched the totality of its dominance. Perhaps none will, because the Raptor wasn't built to fit a system. It became the system. When an F-22 rises through clouds and melts into sunlight, it's not just metal and fire, it's a flying philosophy made real that knowledge, preparation, and mastery of the unseen decide the fate of the sky long before the first shot is fired. In that disappearing silhouette, you see the past, the present, and first hints of the future all flying in formation. The F-22 Raptor, the apex predator.